This mystery lens is perfect for filming any kind of action sport. Now, before I reveal the lens, here are some things that I really think are important when you're filming action sports like tricking. The first one is having a long focal length so you can zoom in on somebody's face, capture their emotion. Imagine you were watching a professional sport, but you couldn't see anyone's face. You just wouldn't be into it the same way. You want to see the character, you want to see the emotion, and I think that's really important for a lens to have, especially when filming any kind of sport, and tricking is no exception. The other thing that a lens for an action sport really needs is a wide angle so you can capture the action. When you're tricking, you're quite close to the action sometimes, so you need that wide angle in case somebody comes at you and they nearly land on you when you're in the crowd. Or if you're filming something like skating, you want to get really close, get some action shots there. That's really important, and this lens can do both of those things really well. And here it is. This is the lens. It's a bit of a beast. It's a vintage broadcasting lens. My model is the Canon J15A X8B4. Now this lens, it's not going to fit directly onto your camera. It's actually made for a 2/3 inch sensor. I'm using a full frame camera. I'm filming on it right now. It's the Sony A7C II. So if you want to see a video on that in the future, then let me know in the comments. But you do need some things to make this work, and I'll go through them a little bit later in the video, but for now I'm going to give you the specs. So this lens is an 8 to 120 millimeter lens. It has a 2x zoom multiplier, which is really important. That turns it into a 16 to 240 millimeter. You do lose a little bit of the aperture. It goes from a 1.7 to a 3.4, which just means it's not going to let in as much light. You're not going to have as much of that background blur, which is a bit of a negative, but this lens isn't perfect. It is really old, and it only cost me £200. The whole setup altogether, including the lens mount and some batteries that I bought for this, which don't actually work at the moment. Overall, it was about £300. Like I said, this lens is a vintage broadcasting lens. I really like the vintage look that it gives. I think that's something very beautiful, and it gives me a lot of inspiration when I'm creating. It has some swirliness when you get to the edges. It's not super sharp when you get to the edges of the frame. For me, I just use that to make the center of the frame more of a focus of the attention. You can't really get much of the focus of the attention on the corners of the frame if that's something that you're looking for. But for me, that doesn't matter. So this lens works really well. Another thing that this lens does really well that some people might not be a fan of is the vintage red light around your subject. I really like that look. I think it's called chromatic aberration. I'm not 100% sure, but that look is something that I was really looking for in a lens, and I think it looks really, really amazing. The main thing that this lens does that no other lens can do is go all the way in, zoom right in on somebody's face, capture the emotion, and in the moment you don't have time to switch lenses to get that shot right before they're doing a skill. So it's really important that your lens can go wide enough to capture the action and zoom in right on their face. I've been really enjoying getting some of these shots lately where I zoom right in on their face, zoom out for the action, and then as soon as they land their skill, zoom right in on their face, and then you can get their reaction, see how proud of the skill they were or if they were disappointed. And that, if you're even not a tricker, gives you a lot more context of how difficult a skill is and how happy someone is and how happy you should be for them as well, landing that skill. Now, obviously, this lens is massive and it does come with a few caveats. The first of which is it's quite hard to use. So while I've been using it, this servo is supposed to work. It's supposed to zoom in for you. It's supposed to do your focus. And there's some other features on here that I can't wait to test out. But I bought a charger for the battery and it didn't work. So if you want to see that in a future video, then I can make another one going through the servo. But for now, I've been using it in manual mode, which means I have to zoom with this hand and focus with this finger. It is a manual focus lens at the moment, so it's been quite difficult to use. But for me, I enjoy working with cameras and I find it really fun to use. It's not, the focus isn't too shallow, the depth of field isn't too shallow, so it's not super hard to pull focus. If you zoom all the way in, then get the focus. As you zoom out, you can't really tell if it's out of focus slightly. So I think it works in most situations. The other thing that is really annoying about this lens is it requires quite a lot of things to actually function. So the first of which is the B4 to Sony E-mount adapter that I have. You can get an adapter for any lens. It costs about £40. It does add a little bit of length to the lens, but it was really nice because it came with this little tripod stand here, which means I can kind of have a bit better balance while I'm using the lens. The final thing that's quite annoying about this lens is the weight. Personally, I don't think it matters too much because the scenario that I'm going to be using this lens is sat down at a session filming other people, or at a gathering where you're in a crowd and you're sat there holding it like this. You're not really moving around. You're not going to be carrying this lens around a lot. So personally, I don't think it's a massive downside. If you're looking for a lens to film yourself or to give other people to film you, this is not the right lens for that. This lens absolutely sucks at that. If you want to film yourself, I would recommend a prime lens, maybe a 16mm or 24mm, and then you'll be able to get a lot sharper image, a lot better specs for the same price. As well, those lenses, they're so easy to pick up, press record, and anyone can use them with autofocus. This one, it gives a certain look, but you have to know what look you're going for, and you have to be quite good at using cameras to be able to get a good image out of it and get some cool shots. So if you just give it to your random Joe, then they're going to have absolutely no idea how to use it. You're not going to be able to get great shots of yourself. I think that's a big downside in tricking. I think everyone should learn how to use a camera to some extent. Everybody should be interested in trying to make content, because as a tricker, it's a viewed sport. That's the whole point. People need to see it, and if you can't show it well, then you can't expect other people to film you well. So get good at filming, maybe buy a camera, get a cheap one, just learn how it works, learn how to get some cool shots, watch some good content, and get out there and get some filming. Alright, so you know everything about the lens now. You know why it's good for tricking and for action sports. Where can you buy one? So this one, I bought it on eBay. I think that's the best place to get them. I got a really good deal. If you keep looking for them, just search up vintage B4 lens or B4 broadcasting lens or vintage broadcasting lens, something along those lines. These lenses will come up. Make sure it has this 2x adapter, because otherwise you get this huge vignette, which it does look cool in some situations, but you want the option to not have it, and then it'll work like a normal lens. The other thing to look for is the focus ring. If you get this type of focus ring, which I have, then it's going to be a high quality lens, but some of them are much older and they have a different type of focusing ring. These ones aren't going to be as good. Another thing to look for is if it has a servo. If you want that servo zoom as well, then make sure it has that and make sure it works. Alright, that's all I got for you today. I really recommend this lens. I definitely think it's going to be great, and I can't wait to go and film a gathering with it. So my next gathering is going to be FTIG, which is here on the Isle of Wight. If you can make it, then come. I'll film you on this lens. I'll send you your clips, and it's going to be sick. If not, then I'm going to Loopkicks as well. So pull up, and I'll be using this lens to get a sweet video of the whole event. Anyway, see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed.